Hello everybody, welcome back to our channel. Is Ethereum about to go absolutely haywire? Well, we're going to get into that to you today. And so if you haven't subscribed, drop a comment, hit the bell, and follow us for the latest crypto news and analysis. So looking at the chart for Ethereum is actually pretty good. We had an ugly candle just a couple of days ago. This one right here on December 4th, this candle, if you know anything about charts, and I'm not sure, not everybody really follows them, but this kind of wick, it really signifies that a lot of people really wanted to sell in time, and that really been really bad. Of course, they got bought into, and it brought us up to about 4,100, 4,135, something like that. But the key thing is not to focus so much on this wick that's going on. What's to pay attention is exactly this consolidation. It's not the tightest, but it still is consolidation. So giving from right around in November, right, up until now, and this is the daily, by the way, it seems we entered a range, right? And that typically happens when we enter that range, that sideways moving sideways, that usually comes from a flip, right, in the market. So when that structured market actually changes, we go into a range after that. But the thing about that range is when you start to notice these dips, right, when they start to get smaller, it's really a signal for you, a big red flag that it's about to make another change. And typically it's going to be like an uptrend here. Lower highs, lower lows, right, kind of thing. And we do kind of have that, but not quite so much. The only thing that scares me is the uncertainty, right? Honestly, it's pretty violent right here. So when we're looking back on the time frame, looking forward, like from this example from October, right, from October 2nd and October 9th, these things are what's really considered healthy, right? These healthy candles. The same, like this right here, and it's not healthy because it's in the plus, but it's healthy mostly for the fact that it's not sporadic. It's not jumping up and down. Now, I think Ethereum is really going to really make some big changes here coming up, because the smaller that these dips become, it's building up. And not just the smaller that the dip in itself, but the buy-ins as well. Even the volume, if you want to take a look at the volume, for example, right here, and I'm just going to use this, that volume of selling is getting lower, but that volume of buying in, it still remains pretty high. And so that's what you want to see, right? We don't want to go any really lower than about right here, for that matter. So we don't necessarily want to see like too much of that going on, but it's not the worst that's going to happen, right? Now, so I would expect it, and this is, of course, it's going to jump, it's going to move. So today, right now, as we're speaking, the market is sitting, minus 0.75, as you can see, it's kind of like jumping. But it's moving very, very well, and it's moving into that point. Of course, there's that uncertainty, but I would expect it, honestly, to be about 4,500 really soon. 4,274 today, which is really, really good. So it's really setting up for a bull run. Just like when we had it here from the 30th of November, right? We're set up pretty high. And we just broke a recent all-time high, too, back in the beginning of November. And I think we're about to break past that, honestly. I think 5K, 10K is just around the corner, and I would expect that, honestly, around, the latest March, right? Giving some circumstances, right? We don't have that crystal ball that's really going to tell us, but looking at the pattern, it looks pretty good. And there's a couple of things that I'm going to go over with Bitcoin as well. When you look at July, and Ethereum kind of follows that. Let's take a look. From July, right? Where are we? If you notice in July, we kind of had that downward move, right? But it was really moving in such a way, dip, right? And it started getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And this candles that I'm talking about. When they get tighter and tighter and tighter, and when you really see that consolidation, it's really sitting up for a good pump, and it's going to run. And this is happening in July, right? Of last year. Now, not only is it moving in that same pattern, but the further you go back in the next year, it's July 2. That had that really big pump. And so when you see that, it's going to be the same. And Bitcoin does the exact same thing, and we're about to go into that as well. So Ethereum sitting now, I'm sorry, let's go at the weekly. Let's take a look at the weekly for Ethereum. Let's move over. All right. Look at that. So still not the greatest candle, but it is buying into some, which is really good. We definitely want to see that. For the weekly, it's up like almost 2%, 1.75, 1.77 for the week. So it's showing signs, and you can even see in the weekly that it is starting to really pump. You see this candle, this one, typically when they're red, it makes me nervous because we see a lot of mistakes. Just the same like right here, because we had that big fall off the cliff, right? But because they're consolidating, right, and we had that sign too that was going to dip a little bit lower after this run. As you can see, they were getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Well, the same thing, but not only does this apply to when we're sitting in the positive, but it also applies when we're in the negative. And so this is what we're looking at. So you can see that this red's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and the positive in the green is actually getting smaller. So it's consolidating, making really tight, and it's kind of letting you know, okay, there's about to be a big shift. Now, it's sitting at a range, that sideways movement that we're talking about. So that's a big thing that we're going to have a breakout. So right after that, when you see them getting smaller and tighter, when it's sitting in the range and they're getting tighter and tighter, it's going to break out. Right, so this is what we're looking at. So watch, I'm almost positive that it's going to jump. And you can guys leave a comment too and tell me what you think. Argue with me a little bit. So tell me what you think it's actually going to drop. Is this that fall that we're looking for the pump, or is it just going to hit the floor and never come back? Leave that in the comments below. Now, looking at Bitcoin, the same thing. Bitcoin finally is breaking through, but still struggling when we're looking at the daily, right? So, what, the 7th of December, yesterday, right? We broke 50K, finally. Finally. Now, it's showing the same kind of pattern, right? And I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, everybody's so optimistic for 200K, right? But it's still going to come up, and we've been saying this too. And now we knew it was going to hit 50, all right, 54, even 50. There's still that possibility. We called this a long time ago that it's going to fall down to this. But the thing is the same pattern, right, that we're looking at. That same consolidation, that same range movement that's looking as well. And this is almost going to give you like 80% chance of like predicting what's about to happen. So watch these candles as they're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And especially when it starts to kind of flipping away. When it goes into the range, that's when you should really be paying attention. Because right now, as you can see, even though we have some selling going on, but tomorrow people are going to be buying in. And I would expect it to be much bigger. And that's what we need to see. So tomorrow we actually need to see kind of like this candle really repeating for itself tomorrow. And then any day, honestly, 2 or 3 days, I think it's going to break out and come around about 52K, 54K back, and it's start really going to pump back up again. So it's December. Welcome, you know, crypto winter. You're welcome for that, right? So that is the daily. Now another coin that I want to speak about, and trust me, we're not doing any more Cardano. Cardano's finished. I don't care what you say. Cardano's done, right? So given the history of Cardano, there's just no way it's going to come back to where you were. If you missed your chance, you missed your chance. So it's over. Sorry. But this coin, Luna. Luna is really making some big moves. The same thing that we're speaking about, right? So this is one of those coins that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, several videos ago too, we told you to watch out for. And it's doing the same thing. So it is consolidating. We had that big flip in the market, right? This candle here was a big sign too, in a positive manner, that there was going to be a change in the market. It started also moving into that range. Now sitting today, Terra Luna is minus almost 3%, but giving the same news tomorrow, the next day, it can possibly take another run for it. All right, so we had that big jump to the all-time high, to what is December the 4th. Right, yeah, it's an all-time high. And so I think that run is not finished. I think it's really going to go to the moon. I would expect 5x from this easily. And the thing is we kind of missed the buy time for Luna, though, because really, and if you're thinking about that last big run, right, when it was up like 30%, 40%, we missed that opportunity. And this is what I'm going to show you too. So as we're looking at Luna, closer down a little bit right here. So from 20 November, do you see, again, it's that consolidation. It's that range that we're talking about, right? We kind of had like 2 of them, right? Or if you want to call it right, more of a trending kind of pattern here, right? Up, down, right? So if you don't know what a trending move is and a retracement move, this kind of giving you an idea, and we can go into that in another video. But looking for the range that we have right here, so you can see that it kind of moved in, and you notice that the candle flipped all of a sudden, right? So it got smaller, and then got bigger, right? And of course the buyer in, and you can kind of notice, oh, okay, it consolidated and then took off, right? It was like completely moving in, and of course, right, we had some liquidation trying to happen, but completely bought into that, right? However, it's still not finished. It's a healthy line, and you can see that later on. And I'm about to show you the volume of that. You can see the same thing, that consolidation, right? That run, right? That range, and back into a healthy style, right? So when they kind of stay around the normality, so it's why it's important to really look at the market as a whole, not just like the most recent, right? But you can kind of see it's kind of healthy, right? It's not like too sporadic like these, for example, right? So it's kind of healthy. And it signified the same, right? We had that pump. And this is what we're talking about here back in, July as well. Right here, that key moment, the 21st, the same thing for Bitcoin, the same thing for Ethereum. It really jumped, right, giving a week or so. But he did. You can see how that liquidation really kind of helping right through here, and it got smaller, right? We had one big sell, and then it just got like much smaller. The following day was that big key. It completely flipped the market, because not only the day before did it buy into that, it bought into the day before that as well. And so it recovered. And then, of course, people are watching this and like started like, okay, let's do that, right? Looking at the volume of the sales, right? So we're going to look at two things here. We're going to look at the 90-day volume and the 30-day volume of sellers and buyers, right? So this is where we are. Here you go. I'll move these out of the way so you can kind of catch that look. Right here, because I got 2 minutes yellow. All right, look at that. All right, you notice this like dip, that less volume, but it's still buying into, right? So it got bought into in that dip. This was that time. This is that area. So a lot of people love to do just like one line, but I love to do areas because it gives you a better idea where to buy. If you bought into this dip, and of course, obviously it's hindsight, right? Like right here, if you bought into this dip, you did fantastic, right? You just made some money. So even right here, as that all-time high hit, people did, you can see, started buying in, of course, changed minds. We had some sellers happening, right? But we're done with that, right? And so we're kind of pretty far from that dip. It's not really a good time to buy in the high because it's not that much of a risk reward buying into these dips. But it still is, because it's going to jump, right? So when you're looking at the volume and trying to do some comparison. So given what we see with Luna is really going to run. And I hope you have your running shoes on. So it's looking, for me, looking very bullish. So take a look at that. All in all, the market today does not look good. It looks pretty ugly. So Bitcoin is sitting negative 375 for the 24-hour, negative 13 for the week. Ethereum 250 for the daily, and negative 10. Solana 2 plus double digits, negative for the week. 17% negative and 8.5 negative as well. We're not speaking about Cardano, of course, negative. That's like the story of the lifetime. XRP, double digits for the week, 18% negative, 3.73 negative for the daily. So kind of matching through. I think Solana is really going to park itself up a little bit higher. I think it's going to pass Tether, to be honest, but that's my opinion. AVAX too. AVAX was doing really good for the weekly, but of course the crash kind of hit it. Still double digits, minus 30, minus 7 for the day. Right, now Matic is doing very good. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I told you to watch for Matic. Up double digits by 24% for the weekly, and 1.5 for the daily. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me. Subscribe, hit the bell, get the notifications, drop a comment. Tell me, what coin do you think is really going to make the next big run here in the next couple of weeks? Until then.